Hi, welcome everybody. That's a big crowd. So, sorry, geen Nederlands. I don't do any, so I apologize for that. But thank you very much. Welcome to the SES Pavilion here. Welcome to allowing us to present to you guys about what's going on in space, how space can help you guys out. Because I know that you guys have got not only what you're doing inside of Holland, but the stuff that you guys do on a seafaring, all the stuff in the North Sea, plus the stuff that the Dutch do around the world. Some of the best people when it comes to managing water, working with water, and being on the water are the Dutch. So hopefully we'll answer some questions and give you guys some ideas about what we can do. I want to say thank you to Mr. Bierman from Ecosystem Services for setting all of this up from the Dutch Pavilion. This is what, 3 years in a row we've been doing
No,
this?
even 10 years.
10 years. Oh boy. Oh boy, 10 years.
Yeah.
I've only been here 3 years. So yeah,
Okay,
so there we go.
Actually, our 10th anniversary.
Yeah, 10th
this
anniversary.
is,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So then what we will do now is I will hand over to Mr. Bierman. Oh, by the way, my name's John McCann. I'm sure you guys have probably met Martin Ferre before. He couldn't be here this week, but I am here for Martin. He and I are on the same team.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is I'll hand over to Mr. Bierman.
Thank you. Yeah. And
you.
just please call me Mark, by the
Mark,
way.
oh, sure. Mark, yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. So this is part of the activities that we are organizing from the Netherlands organization. And thank you, John, for your introduction. It's indeed the 10th time. And one of the activities that we do from the Netherlands Pavilion is we organize knowledge missions. And there's two groups here. So it's the group Government and Innovation, where we see connectivity and developments and innovations taking place. Then this is the place to be. So welcome also here. And the other group is private networking, where we also have a specific group for, because we see private networking as more and more important. And well, I'll tell you a little bit about the background why we are here, because basically it's the third year in a row now that we share the stage with SES, because we consider satellite communication and the developments are taking place as very relevant in connectivity in general. And the Netherlands is very well connected, but the part that definitely requires some more attention is the North Sea. So North Sea connectivity is not a given case. So a process originally started with Fred Hage, who is in the back. So in his time also with some things called Rijkswaterstaat, which is in the department of the government which does not have a good English translation. But they're the organization that takes care of the infrastructure on the North Sea. And for the rest, there was 6 other departments in the government that has responsibilities at the North Sea. And the angle of connectivity is not a given case, and that requires specific attention. So we started originally an initiative that's called Connectivity Ecosystem North Sea, is to look at the challenges that there are in a cooperation way. So we have been including companies to look at that, and one of them was also Microsoft with a data perspective, but certainly also SES was there, but also CityMesh, KPN, and Nokia. So there were a couple of companies that were looking into, and the current that we went through a couple of steps. We visited the first time that we spent time on it from a North Sea perspective was already in 2024. So Fred was there as the first time. But there was a session together with Tampanet, which has some connectivity provisioning on North Sea, what they were doing. And then we went into a process, into a cooperation where we did 4 sessions to look into what kind of cooperation possibilities there are for the North Sea with the involved companies. So we were with a session with Nokia, we were with a session with SES, we had a session in Belgium also with CityMesh, and that's where we are now at, is looking into see how can we progress also on that journey. We did a session with SES in October. In February last year, we were here, so we did a session at SES as well. And we had 2 sessions last year as part of the program. So the first one was a session on the stage in Hall 6. So discussing North Sea and logistic developments and angles as part of a panel discussion where we also, my colleague Anke Kuipers was hosting. And last year we also did a similar session like this, also videotaped. So I think you could also share the session. And basically, this is a next step on to look into how we are able to cooperate and to see how we can improve connectivity, because that's the angle and that's the ambition that we have, is to improve the overall connectivity circumstances to support digital connectivity, to support the use cases of all the user groups that are on the North Sea. So then the next. So there was three parties here that are looking to it. So I shared a little bit our angle, and I also invited. So we are at the end we are going to a little bit of a discussion and questions that there are, and then I would like to hand over the word back to you, John, is to give you a little bit more background on what's happening within SES on connectivity in general, and also specifically on maritime and sea environments. Okay, thank you.
So, okay, I'll go to the next slide. So, it's
short introduction of Link.
Oh yes, okay, yeah,
because,
shortage, yeah, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So yeah, previous one. So basically, yeah, so we do have the three different companies that were working this. Mark, who organized the entire thing. We have Link. It's a company that we've just recently spent a lot of money investing into. And then obviously SES. Now, another big thing that we need to make sure of that you understand is SES and Intelsat have recently merged together. And we're under one umbrella now called SES. But what we've done is we've basically created a behemoth in traditional satellite providers. So we've got assets in every orbit, assets all over the place, all around the world, and various ways of being able to consume bandwidth on the high seas and on land. So, and we'll talk a little bit about what we call global industrial digitization. Now, whether it's digitization in a mine, in an oil field, on a rig, or on a ship, what we've realized is there's an enormous amount of digitization going on, and we've got various ways of being able to solve this. I'm going to start way high and come down a little bit, but since we don't have the full hour, I'm not going to give you all the details, but if you have questions, I will answer them specifically. So let's talk about orbits, right? Start all the way over on the left-hand side, LEO orbit, low Earth between 500 and about 1,250 kilometers. They go very fast around the planet. The latency is very low. Satellite handovers are very quick, and they do a lot of really good coverage around the planet. Link sits in the LEO orbit, but we'll hear more about Link from Mahmoud as we go along. MEO orbit, about 8,000 kilometers up, very wide field of view, very high bandwidth, and very, very carrier grade. Then we have GEO, which is probably the most reliable way of doing it on the planet because it's 50, 60 years old now. All of the television that you see, somehow, some way, somewhere goes over a GEO satellite. Now we're doing some of those in communications as well, but the amount of bandwidth is smaller, but it's got its use. So on the high seas, there's a lot of people using a lot of GEO still. It's still a great, reliable way of doing communications. Now, the big thing that we're doing, what we're developing right now, is what we call multi-orbit. We're doing a lot of software work and a lot of hardware integration to make sure that we can use the right orbit for the right application when the application demands the use of whatever bandwidth or what type of characteristics the orbit has inside of that network. So for LEO, real-time video conferencing, Netflix, whatever it might be, MEO for mission-critical type of systems, such as automated mines or automated drills on oil rigging, or GEO for things like SCADA systems or email transfer. Whatever the network demands, we have an orbit for it, and we're in the middle of developing a huge amount of software to make sure that's all well stitched together. So I'm going to talk about MEO really quick because a lot of people know LEO because it's Starlink or OneWeb. A lot of people know GEO because it's been around for so long, but MEO not a lot of people know about because we're the only people that do MEO. We are at the prime altitude of 8,000 kilometers to have maximum field of view and maximum amount of bandwidth. So we can do about a gigabit per beam, and we've got thousands of beams. We started in 2013 with the first satellites going up at O3b. O3b, we've operated. The satellites are still in operation. We still have customers on that first constellation. And then in 2022, we started really in earnest getting the mPOWER satellites done. 2024, we launched them. And so we have 2 constellations going at the same time, 2 different generations. We're in the middle right now of developing our 3rd generation, which is going to be called Neosphere. Exactly how it's going to look, I don't know exactly how many satellites or how many beams. We're not quite sure yet how it's going to look, but it's going to be an entire generation better than what we have now, where mPOWER was an entire generation better than the first one. Now let's talk about this. I've only got 1 slide on this. We view industrial digitization, and the difference between that and something what a normal satellite provider would provide is that you need to have the same experience anywhere on the planet as you would have if you were terrestrially connected. So your DSL at home or your business grade internet at home or your business grade connectivity at home has a certain amount of carrier awareness, a certain amount of application awareness to it, a certain amount of commitment and assurance to it. And what we're building and what we have built, especially with MEO, is that we have SLA assured connectivity. So service level agreement assurance built into a non-terrestrial space network, same thing as you would have on a terrestrial network. You should not even know that you're on a non-terrestrial network. Your applications should behave exactly the same, whether you're on a boat or you're sitting at home. So remember, did I have everything here? But it's not just about bandwidth as well. It's also about prioritization. Voice goes through fast, email goes through slow, critical communications are handled the way they need to be handled. Now, talk about the trusted space ecosystem. We are part of a consortium called IRIS². IRIS², the entire idea behind IRIS² is to make space sovereign. So when a country has a very specific need for sovereign space, that we can help facilitate that space capability, even if it's on a shared entire space constellation infrastructure, because these things go around the planet and around the planet and around the planet, you're going to have to share something. But we're part of that right now. I can't talk too much about it because we have very specific people that talk about IRIS². They know all the details around it. And since it's a governmental program, I don't have a whole lot of authorization around it. But I can say that space has become a critical interest, not only of commercials on the high sea, but also of nations. And we're seeing it more and more and more that people want that their space segment that they have is something that is sliced out specifically for them. And that's the entire idea behind IRIS². We're in a consortium with Hispasat and Eutelsat, us, and there's a few others that are all getting together to define this and put it together and put it up in the air and make sure that everybody's got sovereign space. Any questions on what I've talked about so far? I'm going to pause here. Any questions on orbits? Any questions on applications? No? Okay. Then I believe I will introduce Mahmoud from Link. There we go. So,
all right.
There you go. All yours, sir.
Thank you, John. Thanks, everybody, for joining. So, introduce myself. My name is Mahmoud Kefagi. I'm the Vice President of Product Management at Link. So, Link, we're a direct-to-device satellite provider. So, just to put it very simply, this is the ability to connect any standard mobile device. So, all the mobile phones we have in our pocket are able to connect to our satellite directly without any modifications. So, why that matters? So, mobile network operators have built a lot of terrestrial networks trying to cover as much as possible of the landmass, but there are some areas that it's just not possible to do that. Maritime areas is a good example of that, where you cannot put a cell tower in a maritime area, And there are areas where it's very expensive and very difficult to build cell towers. So hence the direct-to-device would come into play. So SES has invested in Link, as John mentioned earlier. So about this time last year, both SES and Intelsat have separately invested in Link. And obviously, they're now one large company, and they're a shareholder of Link. And we have a partnership with SES on many different fronts, on commercial arrangements and technical arrangements and operational manufacturing and spectrum. So that, I mean, our relationship with SES unlocks a lot of different capabilities for us. The main one is the multi-orbit one, from a technical perspective, or even from an end user perspective, is our satellites are in low Earth orbit that connect to phones on the ground, right? So in order to get that traffic back on the ground, in order for the users to make phone calls or do data sessions, we send that traffic all the way up to MEO and GEO and then down to SES's ground station. So it enables a real-time connection to the ground, so you can do any data application. So think of any application you have on your phone, except maybe for more the higher data rates one, can be done over that link. And then from a cost perspective, this is a more cost-effective way for us because we don't have to build ground infrastructure or ground stations all over the world. So it gets us faster to market. So that's where SES comes in. And then the multi-spectrum piece. So a few months ago, we announced merging with Omnispace. So Omnispace is a satellite provider that has access to MSS spectrum, S-band spectrum, ITU at the ITU level and in many markets. So we're building satellites that will be in orbit for more than 10 years. And we want to make sure we're backward compatible with all existing devices. So all the mobile devices we have in our pockets can connect to our existing satellites using terrestrial spectrum. But also there are new devices that are being introduced with some of the standards that are being introduced by 3GPP that have the ability to connect to the MSS spectrum. So that's where Omnispace comes into play. So we're backward compatible with existing devices, but we're also future-proofing the constellation for any new device. And then the multi-orbit approach, the multi-beam approach, is our ability to put multi-beams within the field of regard. So it enables more capacity and supporting different technologies. So we're backward compatible to 2G, 4G, 5G. And then finally, what's the value proposition or the benefits to mobile network operators or broadly speaking? So it enables expansion of network coverage. It helps mobile network operators gain market share and reduce churn. And it also ensures network backup. So this is really important in case of scenarios where the terrestrial network goes down, then this could be a backup solution for some applications. And also helps in satisfying any universal service funds or government objectives in terms of providing more coverage. And finally, it allows for humanitarian responsibility efforts. Again, the goal is to cover the large landmass of everywhere, and that would enable any mobile subscriber to be able to connect it everywhere, no matter what. Thank you very much.
Slide
Yes.
to the Earth and the multi-beam and everything. Yeah. And the thing is that one of the main use cases that we see here for this direct-to-device, I don't know, can you go back? Bummer. Is the fact that we could blanket the entire North Sea of with a direct-to-device type of capability, right? So we could basically, let's just consider that the North Sea, you put an entire direct-to-device capability, you blanket the entire North Sea with that. If there is coverage gaps, say between the exclusive economic zone from what the Dutch mobile operators have out before they get to the English mobile operators or the Norwegian mobile operators, we could cover that entire area and seamlessly cover it with a linked direct-to-device capability. If it's got a SIM, you can talk to it.
Yes.
So, yeah.